took the train from Barcelona to Paris, an uneventful, peaceful, and not particularly comfortable way to travel. It took about 5 hours, but it is better for the environment. We then arrived at the Hoxton Hotel in the first arrondissement, an almost unbearably hip hotel with 3 bars that takes up an entire block and where all the staff are almost painfully chic and beautiful. The rooms are pretty small but comfortable, and its location makes it a great base from which to explore Paris. Our first stop in the city was, of course, to get food. We stopped at a brasserie in Le Marais. It's a really nice place to people watch and just put your feet up. We opted for an omelette and a croque monsieur. Over the next 5 days, we basically ate, and ate, and ate, and ate. My favorite snack was actually this crepe near our hotel, which was made fresh in front of us with simply butter, sugar, and just a little bit of lemon. So good. One of the main things we did in the city was actually just to walk around. Window shopping, taking in the life of the city, and people watching are all great activities in the city that invented the flaneur. Then there's actual shopping. The department store was basically invented in Paris, flourishing in the 19th century. Le Bon Marché has a great selection, but perhaps the department store most worth visiting is the Galeries Lafayette, with its beautiful stained glass dome ceiling. It carries everything from Chanel to souvenir cookies. But one of its best features is the rooftop, which has a lovely view of Paris and is completely free to visit. Of course, when you're shopping, there's always the Champs-Élysées, a little bit touristy now with mostly chain stores. We did wander through the flagship Louis Vuitton and thought about buying this luxury ping pong paddle and jump rope. Randomly, one of the most beautiful stores on the Champs-Élysées is actually this Abercrombie & Fitch, of all things. Who knew? Of course, it wouldn't be a Paris visit without museums, of which the city has an unparalleled selection. We started with the Petit Palais, which is built in 1900 for the Universal Exhibition. It has a gorgeous garden. Its exhibits cover a wide swath of art history, but it has a particularly good collection of 19th century painting and sculpture. From the Petit Palais, you can walk to the Eiffel Tower, although it is a bit of a trek. We didn't actually go up the tower because the line was so long, but we did cross over to the Trocadero, which is the best place to take photos with the tower in the background. We also snuck in a half-day trip to Versailles, which is about 45 minutes away by train. It was the principal royal residence of France from 1682 to 1789, and then became a museum in 1833, with a major restoration, among many others, completed in 2009. To be honest, this aesthetic wasn't for me. It was really gaudy, but it is still interesting as a historic site. And it has a stunning gallery of historical paintings showing military victories of France. We were also able to visit Marie Antoinette's Hamlet. This is a surreal, fake peasant village built for the Queen in 1783, which she could visit to get away from the intricacies of palace life, basically faff about, play games, and pretend to be a simple milkmaid. So strange. Our other Paris sightseeing included Shakespeare & Co., an English language bookstore that is the successor of its famous historical counterpart. The original was a gathering place for writers like Ezra Pound, Ernest Hemingway, and James Joyce. Today, the shop has a wonderful, cozy selection of new and antique books, as well as a charming reading room upstairs. Of course, our museum visits wouldn't be complete without a visit to the Louvre, the largest and most visited art museum in the world. It was also originally a palace built in the late 12th century as a fortress, and then became the main residence of French kings in 1546. It became a museum in 1793. To be honest, it's not the most pleasant museum experience because it is so overwhelming and crowded. I would recommend skipping the Mona Lisa and spending some time instead with Da Vinci's Madonna of the Rocks in the Grand Gallery. One of my favorite paintings was this stunning two-sided rendition of David and Goliath by Daniel da Volterra, a Tuscan artist of the 16th century. It stands in the center of the Grand Gallery and was meant to answer the age-old debate over which was more realistic, painting or sculpture. We also paid a visit to the Musée d'Orsay with the dear friend of mine from law school, P. This museum holds French art dating from 1848 to 1914 and has the largest collection of Impressionist work in the world. I forgot to take videos of it though. We also met up with my college friend and former roommate E, who has been living expat life in Paris for a couple of years. It was great to catch up and also to meet her charming cat, Harry. What a sweetheart. We grabbed lunch at the Musée de la Vie Romantique and some drinks by the Seine. Speaking of the Seine, one of my absolute favorite activities was the river cruise we took with my friend P. We embarked at 8:30 p.m. and were able to see many of the city's most iconic and beautiful buildings as the sun went down. It seems like all of Paris is out by the river in the summer evenings. This cruise was just so relaxing. And of course, it was capped off by a perfectly cheesy, perfectly beautiful nighttime view of the Eiffel Tower. For our last day, we spent some time wandering Montmartre, a hilltop village-like neighborhood. It was once home to artists like Monet, Renoir, Degas, Picasso, and Van Gogh. Today, it has a charming, if touristy, character. It's crowned by the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, an unusual and stunning monument completed in 1914, which has a Roman Byzantine style as compared to the Gothic architecture of the Middle Ages demonstrated by Notre Dame. The steps of the basilica are a great place to sit and take in one last sweeping view of the city at sunset. Thanks for watching. Till next time, Paris.